Hi, I'm Kim of the Oregon Tantra Festival, one of the co-coordinators, and today I'm talking with my friend Grace Bryant from Seattle. She's speaking at both of our Tantra festivals, but I wanted to take a minute really to talk with you, Grace, about what I know one of your specialties is, which is kind of supporting the awareness and the new learning and the new education that I know I want, and I know a lot of people around me want, about how to be able to talk with inclusivity about people of all genders and of all sexual orientations. And I know that's one of your specialties. And so I'm really looking forward to being with you about that. But I'm wondering what you might have to say about coming and bringing that for the first time to our Oregon Tantra Festival.
Well, first I'll say I'm really excited when you reached out to me a couple of months ago, Kim, and specifically said, we want you to come because this is what you do. I felt really honored. I felt really seen. And to be really honest and vulnerable, that's why I said yes. There's so much beautiful conscious sexuality and conscious relating work in the world where we haven't yet looked through those lenses. And I'm really excited to be in the Northwest where this education is becoming much more prevalent, where folks who work around conscious sexuality are saying yes to being not just like, oh, you can come if you're not this thing, but like, yes, how can I make this a great space for anyone of any gender representation, of any expression, of any sexual orientation? So I feel honored and excited and delighted that that Oregon Tantra Festival is bringing this and that I get to be there as a part of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, one of the things that I know is as a sex and intimacy coach, I'm pretty much immersed in conversation and dialogue around all types of sexuality and sexual interaction and sensuality. And to become literate in it has been that's not an easy thing for a cisgendered woman who isn't in the field very often. And I am now, because I've made more of a conscious choice to be in the field where I get to be with a broader scope and be able to speak in a much more inclusive way. And I wonder what you might have to say for those of us that would like to be more literate in how to be inclusive.
I think what's really important is what you shared with me, Kim, that as you've been on this journey the last couple of years, you reached out and got yourself educated. Often a question people ask is like, well, how do I find out? And the resources are out there. You know, there's a ton of really well-written articles. There's a ton of really well-made podcasts and books about gender inclusivity and about non-gender conforming folks and about how to be transliterate. There's some wonderful workers up here in Seattle who do a lot of work around the literacy, the education, the way to speak and advocate for folks outside of the gender norms and the hetero norms. So first of all, start advocating for yourself by looking to that education. And then find folks who are resourced. I think this is one of the challenging places of maybe calling myself an ally and then expecting my friends or my loved ones even to kind of bear the weight of the education. So if you know someone who is non-cisgendered, don't make the assumption that they want to spend their energy with you educating you.
Right.
But you know, this is one of the things that I really want to offer is as a resource at the festival, as a resource as a co-presenter at the festival, that folks can reach out to me and I will be a place that's resourced as far as shifting your language or having questions around that, or maybe just, you know, having a resource of how inclusive is my space? Would somebody be willing to give me some feedback on that?
That was one of the things I loved about our conversation the other day was when you said you are available and approachable, because we don't want to just expect that we can ask that from anyone that we see along the way and give them that burden. But that for the festival, you are willing and available for us to lean into you as a resource. And I appreciated that. It made me happy.
Thank you. And I really appreciate your willingness. And I appreciate that in your duties as the MC and in the workshops that you're offering, knowing that your space is safe for all genders. I know I feel like, oh, I might want to go play in Kim's workshop. Whereas otherwise I often feel like, okay, is this going to be that heteronormative thing where I'm just not sure where I fall exactly, or everyone around me is going to make a whole bunch of assumptions about me, or we're going to say our pronouns at the beginning and then not really give credence to what that means. So knowing that you are doing this work really makes me feel safer, honestly, in my body.
Doing it, and I would tell you, I also know I stumble and I get caught up on myself, and I want to be more fluid or fluent, and because it's not, and I have such a heart for people, I get to practice being fluent because I work in the field of sacred sexuality. So I get that opportunity all the time, but I see so many who would like to but don't have the opportunity and don't even have the spaciousness to create the opportunity. So I'm kind of feeling like I get to be a bridge walker in that arena of supporting those who think they don't know how to go find out. Let's go find out together, because I'm finding out too.
And willing to be humble and willing to say, here's a mistake I made and I invite you to give me feedback. That's the most crucial piece. It doesn't matter how many mistakes you make. It doesn't matter how many times you do it wrong, as long as you keep being willing to learn. That's so important. And I am not perfect at this. I am certainly on a learning curve of my own. And so I make mistakes. Every day I make mistakes, and I'm really happy to own that. And what I'm the most happy about is when the space that I create is safe enough that somebody feels like they can come up to me and say, Grace, why did you say that? Or I don't understand that, or that doesn't feel inclusive to me. And I get to be in that with my rawness and my vulnerability. And that's something I would love to offer maybe at upcoming festivals, as a space where if there are presenters who want to know, that we can maybe create some workshops or spaces for folks to have a bridge before the festival happens.
Yeah, I can certainly see how our festivals, each year I feel like we get a little bit more of an idea of what to bring and where do we want to expand into. And I know for me, this is the field that I really feel like is next for us. And so thank you. So I'm so glad you're bringing those to us. Thank you. And looking forward to being with you in person soon.
Yay. Thanks, Kim. We'll see everybody at the festival.
See you at the festival. All the details